YouTube, welcome back to Cassandra's Kitchen, where I eat to live and not live to eat. Today I'm going to be making a walnut and mushroom mock meat Wellington. So if you're interested in learning how I create this dish, stay tuned and I'll show you. Alright, so here are our ingredients that we're going to be using to make our walnuts and mushroom meat Wellington. So we have, of course, our Portabello mushrooms. We have a variety of those, but we're going to use those in a couple of different ways. We have some fresh bell peppers, a variety of colors. We have some jalapeno peppers, some fresh garlic, our walnuts that have been soaking in water, and our onions, sweet onions. We're going to be using our sun-dried tomatoes as well as our vegetable broth, which we'll be using that to make our gravy. So these are our ingredients, so let's get started. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start off by making our dough for our Wellington first, so that can be resting. And what we need to do that, we need 2 cups of flour, and I'm using white spelt today because I did get my white spelt flour in. I was super excited about that, and I made some cookies the other day, some oatmeal raisin cookies. Oh my gosh, they were delicious. So 2 cups of spelt flour. We're going to use a tablespoon of, I'm using olive oil. And we're going to put a teaspoon of salt. And this is if you're trying to have an alkaline diet, you can definitely use this recipe. Teaspoon of salt. I'm making a mess. And I'm going to use just, I like to season my dough, so I'm going to put just a little bit of Italian seasoning in here. Not much, just a little sprinkle, just to get my dough a little flavor. And just a little sprinkle of garlic. And that's optional. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and pulse this first. Try to get that going. And then what we're going to do, we want to make sure it's on our dough. Okay. And then all we're going to need to add in here is a little bit of sparkling water. And I'm using the Perrier water. You'd only want a little bit, put a little bit. So just, and the bubbles is what helps it to rise. So I'm just going to put just a little bit in here to start. And then I'm going to put it on my dough. And if it doesn't start making the dough, we may just have to add just a tad bit more water. Like I said, just go a little bit at a time. And let me grab my spatula. It should start to pull all the dough from the side. There we go. So let this go until it kind of gets all the flour caked up from the side here. Okay. And so then we should have a nice dough. Nice dough ball, which we do. And it smells good. So I'm going to shift over here for a second. So what I'm going to do, because we don't really need to knead it that much because the blender or the processor has done that already. So I'm just going to put a little bit more flour down in here just to kind of work it and to keep it from sticking. Just to knead. Can y'all see this? Okay. Like I said, it doesn't take a lot to do because the mixer's already done the dough part, this for us really. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna leave this in a nice ball and I'm gonna place it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes until we're ready to use it. So we're gonna go ahead and start on our meat in just 1 second. All right, so what we've done, I put in the mushrooms and the walnuts, and we're just gonna blend those together to get that broken down. The mushrooms and the walnuts, they're broken down really good. You just want to make sure it's like a meaty texture, meaty consistency, because we're going to cook that down. So we'll go ahead and get that going here. A couple more pulses and then we're ready to go over here to the stove, and I'll meet you guys right over here to go ahead and cook it. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and start getting our meats and veggies cooked. So I'm using some grapeseed oil in my pan. And what I'm going to start off doing first of all is getting in my fresh garlic. And we're going to put in our mushrooms. And onion. And peppers. May not use all these peppers, but we also have jalapenos. Now the jalapeno peppers is optional. It just depends on if you like a little spice. I do want to get a little jalapeno in there. So we're just going to cook these down. We don't want to cook them all the way down, but we want to cook them down because we're going to add in our other meat mixture too. So what we're going to do is go ahead and season these. So I'm going to be using some garlic and herb. This is no salt. So you can use, I like a lot of spices. I like my food to taste flavorful, you know, which this is almost gone. So I might as well go ahead and just use all of that. Because by the time we add in our other mushroom and walnuts, it's going to balance. I use my spike seasoning, or my spike seasoning does have a little sodium in it. I'm going to be using some smoked paprika. Give it that savory, smoky taste. I'm going to use a little bit more garlic. And again, I'm going heavy on the seasonings because we have to add in our other meat stuff that doesn't have any seasoning in it. And of course, I like to use my Italian blend. That's what's going to make the meat real meaty and savory tasting. So I use quite a bit of that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this cooked in good. And the spices, of course, you can use basically what you like to cook with. Okay. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put our mock meat mixture in here. So this is our walnuts and our mushroom meat. So what I'm going to do is just kind of move this around and get this centered in here. It looks mushy. So we mushed it down. We soaked the walnuts, but that's good. So that way it won't be hard when we're making our Wellington. And again, that's why I added a lot of flavor, because this mixture here didn't have any flavor, any seasonings in it. Okay. Push that down in here and let that cook. And what we're going to add, which gives this a really nice texture and flavor, is sun-dried tomatoes. And I use the California sun-dried tomatoes. Now these are whole. Now I'm not going to keep them whole. I'm just going to cut them up a little bit with my scissors while this is cooking. Just kind of cut them in half or quarter sizes, because you do want that texture in there. It helps with the meat texture. Okay, we're just going to cut these down. I love this brand of sun-dried tomatoes. They have so much flavor. Put just a little bit more. So maybe 1/3 of a jar is what I'm using for mine. Go ahead and get this all mixed in here good. We just really want that meat to cook. And that's what's going to take a moment, because we want it to really cook and turn into like a ground beef. And then once we get that together, we'll go ahead and stuff it in our dough. So we'll let this cook and we'll be right back to show you. All right, I just wanted to give y'all a close-up here on the meat. Look at that. Can you see how it takes on the resemblance of a ground beef? And so we have our peppers and everything in there. So we didn't cook all of our peppers down to where you just can't see them. So they still have that vibrant color. They're still going to have a little texture to them. So we don't get it, so it's just not lost and cooked down. So, but what we're going to do, this is pretty much ready. And I've tasted it, and it tastes really good. It's flavorful. You definitely got to make sure your flavor is in your meat. So then when you put it in that dough, then every bite's just going to be delicious. So, but I wanted to give you a close-up look of what your meat should look like. So, and if you don't want as many peppers in there, I did cut up quite a bit because I wanted a variety. I used half of a red, half of a yellow, half of an orange, and half of a green. If you don't want that much, you can do maybe 1/3 of each if you want all the color. If you don't want the color, you can just maybe use 2 peppers. And so mine was pretty large too, so that's why it looks like a lot, but I like a lot of peppers. They're high alkaline, they're good for you. So I definitely try to go for a lot of the high alkaline veggies and foods when I eat, so that way we're getting all the nutrients that we're needing. It's good for our bodies. So this is what it looks like. We're going to let this cool off a little bit, and then we'll get this rolled in our dough, and we're pretty much done from here. So we'll let you see what's coming next. All right, so we've got our meat ready. Our dough is prepared. We're going to roll this out. Just make a little station here so we can roll out our dough. And then we'll get this in the oven. And while this is in the oven, what we're going to do is make a little gravy to dip in. And these would be good if you have empanada cutters. You can do the empanadas, and that'll be good too. But what we're doing, we're just going to roll our dough out, and we're going to make it into a Wellington. So just try to get it as rolled out as best as we can. Okay. And that's why you see, well, you can't see, but I can see all the spices and things, the herbs that I put down in here in my dough. When I put in the seasonings in my dough, you can see that in our dough. Just gives a little extra added look to your food. Okay, and flavor. Like I said, I'm super excited about getting our white spelt flour, because it's so hard to find in the stores, but we were able to find it online. And so I'm excited because then I can make doughs and make pastries. We just want to get this lifted up. We're going to just put it on my parchment paper. Try to get it lined up on my parchment paper so that way it's a one and done. We don't have to keep going back through with it. Okay. So I'm going to kind of keep this stretched out. I probably should have used my larger pan, but let's see. Hold on here. Come on, girl. We can do this. We can. Okay. So what I have here is our mixture. Like I said, it is cooled off. And it tastes good already. There's so much flavor in that. It's so good. So all we're going to do is just kind of mix it, sort of like a meatloaf. We're just going to get it in the middle of our dough. Kind of pile it in here. So what I was saying, you can make empanadas out of this as well. That would be really good. Put some cheese down in there and do your empanadas. And there'll be small little pastries versus one large pastry. So I do have some little empanada pastry tools that I was planning on making some little bitty pies out of. You know, apple pies, peach pies, things like that. Okay. I just wish I would have used my larger pan, but I didn't. But I have enough dough to, it's just going to be stretched a little weird. But I would have used my other pan, I could have went that way with it. But oh well. It's too late to be talking about what I should have did. So again, this is sort of like a meatloaf almost, but in a pastry. I don't know if you all have ever had a beef Wellington. They'll just use the real beef and put it in a pastry. It's usually a holiday dish. So, but I was in the mood to make it, so here we have it. And another creative thing you could do is change the flavor in here and do it like with the taco flavor. That would be great, instead of having the savory, meaty taste. Okay. We just got a little bit more in here, and I'm going to get this all down in here. And then once we get this all in here, we're going to get this in our oven until our crust is browned. Okay. kind of make it all kind of centered here. And if we were doing this for the holidays, you could put like a jam or something on top before you bake it under your dough. Okay, so this is where I should have used my other pan because the dough is longer this way, but that's okay. We're just going to stretch it this way. Just make sure everything is covered good. And then we'll come up over because it is kind of thin. What you can do, let me do this. You can cut off any excess, which that's what I'm going to do because I don't want it too thick. And then I'm going to just dough this back up and kind of go over the top one more time with it. Put my flour over here. Okay. This way down with it. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but we got it all covered in our pastry shell. We're just going to put this in the oven. I'm just going to do a couple little slits here. Okay. So I'm going to bake this in the oven. I have it on 350 for about maybe 30 minutes to let the crust cook. And then while this is cooking, we're going to start on our gravy. Just going to make a quick gravy that if you want to dip it in the gravy will be there. So I'm going to get this in the oven. All right, so we're just going to make a little bit of gravy. And all I'm going to do is use some of the peppers, onions, and mushrooms that I had. I set those aside. And we're going to make some gravy since we don't have any type of drippings, you know, from the old school, how we used to make our gravy. So all I'm doing is just going to saute these down a little bit in some of the grapeseed oil. And I'm just going to season it with some Spike because it's got all the herbs in here. Just going to season my batch with some Spike and some black pepper. And then this doesn't come out that great. Sometimes I gotta get it going. This is a fresh one. So, and we're going to use just a little bit of black pepper to make our gravy. And all we're going to do is just let this kind of cook a little bit. Cook this down. And I'm going to use some vegetable beef broth. It's vegan. And just use some spelt flour to get that going. So let me see. My kind of crunch this down a little bit Because whenever you buy your seasonings, it doesn't have a lot of additives to prevent caking. You know, I don't like to have a lot of additives in my seasoning. So sometimes you have to just go and break it up yourself, which is okay. I'm okay with that. There we go. Now it's kind of flowing out. We definitely want our gravy to have some flavor. Okay. Well, we're just going to let these cook. Kind of just saute these down just a little bit. And once these cook, just add our little flour and add our broth and just have a nice little roux or gravy on the side just to dip our Wellington in. Simple, easy, not much to it. That's all it takes to make a gravy. So it's a mushroom and red pepper gravy. So this will be done in just a second. And we're going to move on to start our taste test here shortly. So be right back. All right, guys. So this is the end result of the gravy. See, nothing hard. And it's just the right consistency for me. If you like it thicker, you can just not put as much broth in there. If you want it thinner, you can add more broth. So, but this is what we have. The mushroom and red pepper gravy. And we're going to go ahead and pair this with our beef Wellington. So, we'll get that out of the oven here shortly. All right, guys. So, we are done with our Wellington and our gravy. Don't know if you guys can probably get a look at that. Just kind of bring it in. This cooked for probably about 45 minutes in the oven. I actually put it up to 400. I said 350, but I put it up to 400. And so we're going to do a taste test here. I'm going to cut in here. It's flaky. Kind of let y'all see what we got going here. Let me move my gravy over a little bit. And so that's the inside of it, just beefy, meaty. And so put that on here. It is a little spicy. I mean, a little hot. So I need my taste testers to come over and help me. So, Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Can I have your assistance, please?
Yes, you can.
And is my Ariana somewhere nearby? She may be doing her homework, so we're going to let her. She's got to do her homework. But she helped me today. And so, you want me to cut this a little bit? Or you want to just dip in the gravy? Well, however you want to do it. So you can dip it. It is a little warm. But if you want to try it in the gravy, you can. But it is a little still warm. Because I thought it was cooled off a lot more than that. But not so much. Here's you some napkin. But it is a little hot. Don't burn your tongue.
A little warm.
It's hot. I know. That's why I said I should have let it cool off just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But what about the taste?
That's what you're showing.
Okay.
Actually, it tastes like meatloaf inside of a crust, inside of a pie crust. That's what it tastes like. It's really good. The flavor is excellent. The gravy is real good, and it's good. I mean, it's
good.
Delicious. Good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
So yeah, so again, it's just like you said, a meatloaf. So if you wanted to take that same concept of the meat and turn it into a meatloaf, you could do that as well.
It's like meatloaf and a pie crust. It's really good.
And then you just got the shell around it, and then you just got the gravy to kind of just set it off a little bit, compare it off. Let me just put a little bit on here. I guess I'll try it.
It's really good. It's pretty good.
Real savory. It'll be really good with some mashed potatoes and some green beans or some really greens on the side. It's got a lot of flavor.
Yeah, it's really delicious.
And the gravy is good. It's just mushroom and red pepper gravy. I'm gonna take one more bite.
I want a bite too.
That's good.
Shoot. It's good, y'all. It's really good.
So you come and just smash it up.
Well,
Everything coming out.
Well, I guess the way that you must be there on the side.
No, you just.
But anyway, y'all, it's really good. It's amazing.
Here, let me give you a napkin.
I just can't eat it like I want to eat it, you know?
He
But
coming just like.
it's really good, yeah. I just want to just devour it, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, here you have it, our mushroom and walnut meat Wellington in a spelt crust. And so try the video if you like it. You know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And of course, share this video.
Yeah, share.
Share it with your friends.
Share it with your friends.
Share it on your social media page. So
You
someone
won't
may
be
try it.
disappointed.
It's really good, guys.
Yeah, really
and
good.
then also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already subscribed.
Yeah.
But again, thanks for watching.
Yes, thanks for
and
watching.
from my kitchen to yours, be blessed until next
blessed.
time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye. Peace out, y'all.